Hi, this is Mark Henry back again to give you information on the occult and paranormal. Well, today I want to talk a little bit about the power of the spoken word. And what the power of the spoken word basically says is that it doesn't matter whether you're doing magic or just general communication with other people. Your words have power. What you say, your content of your words, your tone, your body language, all of that is part of your intention and it comes out as energy and it has an impact. One of the things I like to do to kind of, I guess, check myself to gauge what I'm doing is that I sometimes pretend, I imagine that I'm a wizard and that when I am about to communicate something, I imagine that I'm communicating with someone and that that communication is having a very strong impact. It doesn't matter whether I'm saying something positive or maybe something not so positive. I imagine that what I'm saying has the potential to bless them in a powerful way or to hurt them in a powerful way. And if, after analyzing that, if it seems that it's not appropriate for me to say that, because I wouldn't want that to happen, then I don't say it. It kind of puts things in perspective in a lot of ways. So what I'm going to talk about in the video today, this is not going to be a moral discourse, although I will give some suggestions and recommendations. So this isn't about, me telling you what you should do. It's more about me pinpointing a particular behavior pattern and raising awareness of it, so that if you notice it in yourself just a little bit, you can know to do something about it. So here are my suggestions based on the power of the spoken word. 1, do not, under any circumstances, lie, which is covert deception. And I want to add a caveat to that. I'm not talking about telling little kids myths and stories and things like that. I'm talking about deliberately trying to mislead someone with false information. False information to the point where it's all about you and it's not about them. So now that I've kind of cleared that up, where that falls, because there's different degrees of deception and dishonesty. So that's what I'm talking about. There was a philosopher who once said that when you lie, you add just a little bit more confusion to the world. That you are spreading this information which is illusory, that isn't real. And that in itself is a problem, despite the consequences. The next recommendation that I would give is that if you make an agreement with somebody, well, I'll be there at this certain time, or I'll do this for you, then be sure to do it. The fastest way for people to lose trust in you is to break your agreements, especially if it happens over a repeated period of time. You lose that power. You lose the power of the spoken word, because what your words says does not matter because your actions are not corresponding to it. Now I know that certain things are unavoidable. Certain things are out of your control, and I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about, again, when you break agreement due to selfishness, about what's right for you and not necessarily thinking about other people. And I'm going to explain again why these things are important in the context of magic a little later, but I kind of want to set up a framework first. The next thing is, when someone asks you to keep a secret, to keep certain information about them specifically in confidence, be sure to keep that request. And I want to draw the distinction between healthy secrets and unhealthy secrets. So I'm talking about healthy secrets here. If someone doesn't want you to spread information about them because if it could hurt them or some other type of matter, then keep it. I'm not talking about, okay, I killed somebody and please keep it a secret because I want to get away from the law. And, I'm not talking about the really extreme examples. I'm talking about keeping secrets that really won't hurt anybody either way. It's just for the person who is asking you to do it. If you break that, you will quickly lose trust from that person. And if other people find out, you'll lose trust from them. Again, it's the same thing because it is a form of agreement. If you keep it, though, you actually will build trust with that person. You will become more credible, and your word will have more power. There is a word that floats around in occult circles, witchcraft, is called Warlock. Now, Warlock has become more popular in the last couple decades in video games and in pop culture as being kind of a male sorcerer, a male witch. And that, I guess, has its place. I like to think of the history of things and what actually warlocks and the derivation of words actually is. So the word warlock comes from, I believe it's Anglo-Saxon, came back in the day, a couple hundred years ago. And what it meant is that if someone was in a coven, they were learning the secrets of the coven, access to their spells. If that person, for whatever reason, decided to leave that group, and they went to another coven, another group, and shared those secrets of the original coven would shun them and shame them for not keeping the secrets. They broke an oath with that coven, and therefore they were considered an oath breaker, and therefore a warlock. So warlock is a pejorative term. It's nothing nice and really has nothing to do with a powerful, extremely powerful male sorcerer necessarily. That's where the original word comes from. But it is kind of a nice commentary. I don't know if that's necessarily a myth, but it is kind of a teaching tale that when you don't keep your secrets, then bad things can happen. People can lose trust, and you can make some quick enemies depending on the secret that you revealed. Now, how does this even remotely relate to magic? How does it relate to spellcasting? How does it relate to any of the things that I've talked about in my videos? Well, if someone habitually does the things that I previously mentioned, the deception, the lying, the breaking of agreements, not keeping secrets, someone who habitually does that usually has problems, relational problems with people. Maybe they were brought up in a very abusive home. I don't know what the reason is, and it's really not important for the purposes of this video. But if someone has those tendencies, then when they go and they will do something on the occult level, maybe they want to get into magic. So they go and they try to get to work with a particular deity. I talked about Hecate in a video a while back, so let's use her for an example. Let's say this fictitious person that we're talking about who has these tendencies goes and begins to set up an altar and talks to Hecate, and Hecate speaks back. And what the person does is it tries to negotiate, Hecate, why don't we work together? I promise to give you an offering once a week of chocolate or wine or whatever she wants. And by doing that, let's work together, and I will honor you, and if at any point, if you could please help me with certain things, I would greatly appreciate it. So let's say that Hecate says, okay, well, let's go ahead and do that. I choose you. I don't normally choose. I normally choose only the people that are worthy, and I choose you. So this person, let's say, with those tendencies, decides not to honor that agreement. Maybe months go by without offerings to Hecate. Maybe he'd stop talking to her, stop thinking about her. What do you imagine would happen? Well, I can tell you from experience from other accounts, because I try to keep my agreements with unseen entities. The best thing that can happen for the person, or the kindest thing, is that Hecate will just not work with you anymore and say, "Hey, buddy, we got to break up. You know, this is not going to work out. I expect loyalty, and you didn't even have a conversation with me about what's going on. So, go on your way." The not so good thing that could happen to this poor guy is that she feels scorned, she feels betrayed. She knows that he broke an agreement with her. He knows that in a way, he lied. So what she might do is just to create a little bit of a bad luck in his life in order to teach him a lesson. And hopefully he won't do that to her, any other entity, or the people in his life. They can do this. They can put you at the wrong place at the wrong time, make you out of step with time, cause things that weird coincidences that you wouldn't have imagined happening to you. All of a sudden, everything is coming apart. So that would be the worst part. It's not a good scene, but this has to do with relationships, because relationships with unseen entities. If you have a problem with people, people can come and talk to you and confront you, and you have them in physical space. But if you have a problem with that, how hard is it going to be when you have to communicate with somebody through meditation? It becomes an even easier not to do the positive behaviors of communication. Not a good thing. So that's basically it. I want to kind of keep this fairly short. Again, I don't want to come across as being preachy, but I do think that relationship skills with people connect with relationship skills with entities. And if you want to have good relationships with spirits and entities, to please treat them well, please treat them with respect. If for some reason you say, well, I don't want to work, Mark, I changed my mind, I don't want to work with this entity anymore, I want to go and do something else, I've got other interests. Well, that's fine, but you do it the right way. Let's use Hecate as an example. If this person would have gone to Hecate and say, hey, look, I'm interested in working with this, with something else. I really appreciate what you've done for me. I don't think I can carry through with this. Here's an offering. Here's a peace offering. I really appreciate you choosing me, but I really want to kind of go in a different direction. I think that would go over much better than kind of leaving a dark goddess hanging, because they don't like that. All right, so thank you very much for listening. Just as a reminder, on the last video I said that with my book I lowered it from $4.99 to $2.99 on the Kindle edition on Amazon. I kept it all week just in case somebody didn't have enough time to go ahead and do that within those 2 days, but I will tomorrow night 10 p.m. Central Standard Time take that off. So if you have any intentions of going ahead and buying that, go ahead. I'm going to raise it back to $4.99, but I wanted to kind of keep it inexpensive for a period of time. So anyway, please subscribe and like, and I will talk to you soon.